ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí ẹ sì káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ọmọ Oòduà tó ń dé sójú ìwòran yín o láti iléeṣẹ́ ìkànnì Wo TV. Òdu ni wá, àwa kì í ṣàìmọ̀ fún lóko. A tún ti dé o sórí ètò bá a ti ṣe máa ń dé tó ètò ọ̀hún ló wá balẹ̀ báyìí bí ọ̀wàrà òjò sójúde yín o. Àwa òmìnira bá wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ máa fi ti àpèrè mọ́lẹ̀ kájọ kán lágbá mi ètò tòní nítorí pé ń dá amú afúra wa lórí ètò lónìí ó gbọgbọ́n kódà ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ń pè ní ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ nítorí pé kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀ kàbìtì la máa ń pè ní kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀ tó ẹ bá wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ máa fi ti àpèrè mọ́lẹ̀ ká kán lágbá mi ètò tọ̀hún ká máa bá kinní ọ̀hún bọ̀ bá a ti ṣe máa ń ṣe tá a máa ń kìbọnú ara wọn lẹ́lẹ́yọ̀ ẹ̀yọ̀ bó bá ti wá yá yín bó bá ti yégun ni o ṣe mọ̀ pé o ti yọrẹ́ àwa tá a wà ń bí náà àbá tèrè wá bí torí pé bàbá débi iṣẹ́ ṣíṣe náà là á ṣe ó ti wá yá ẹja jọ karabodò torí pà ní karabodò tán ká tó ṣe máa wá parọ́ pò tútù mú wá o ó ti yá bó bá ti yá yín ẹja jọ lọ.
A symposium and panel discussion this particular session. Hopefully we'll have a discussion on how we can grow the state's creative economy, focusing on how content creators are contributing to your state's economic growth. That's one thing that we will do after this first issue we're going to deal with. So may I invite the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, His Excellency Barrister Bayo Lawal, as he is stepping forward right here to give his remarks on this event for today. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, can we please a round of applause for His Excellency as he is approaching the podium. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Let's be seated, please. Thank you. While I'm standing on the existing protocol, I'd like to recognize our honorable commissioners that are here, Shagodoyin, Professor Babatunde, and our chief host, Dr. And then let me also recognize our royal fathers that are here this afternoon. They've been part of this event since morning. Actually, some of them since yesterday. I'd like to recognize all government functionaries that are here this afternoon. I don't want to be mentioning names. And then participants in this epoch-making event, the event that is meant to unlock potentials that will lead to socio-economic development of your state. So I recognize everybody and the planners of this event as well. Yeah, I have listened with rapt attention since yesterday, and I'm getting the gist of what the workshop is all about, and I have really inferred personally that the whole essence of what we're trying to do for your state is poverty reduction. Poverty reduction, whether it's in area of heritage, potentials, Greek business, educational business, and so on and so forth, all geared towards poverty reduction in your state. Yesterday when I was coming to this event, I came along with His Excellency, the former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke. And when we got to the junction of UI, he said to me, look, I have been in this business for quite some time, and what I have been struggling to achieve is what I constantly see along the streets in Nigeria. And I asked him, what is it? He said, to suck young people out of the streets into employment that will give them a life. And I believe sincerely that this workshop is mainly to achieve part of what he said. We may target tourism development, but tourism development must gear towards achieving particular goal. To us in Oyo State, we believe tourism development, whether agro-tourism, educational tourism, heritage tourism, or whatever tourism, it is to achieve better life for us in Oyo State. On this note, I think all the participants are prospective investors, and the existing investors who collaborate with Oyo State government in achieving our goal. Oyo State is unique, not only in the southwestern states of Nigeria, but in Nigeria, because the map of Oyo State is quite unique, prominent, and conspicuous. Whatever happens in Oyo State, particularly in Ibadan, is what is happening in the southwestern states of Nigeria. I will give you two examples. One, about 1.5 years back, I went to represent His Excellency, the Governor of Oyo State, at Akure, and everybody was talking about Southwest, and I said, wait a minute, we are talking of Southwest. Are you talking of Southwest minus Oyo State? You dare not. And they started laughing, and I tried to convince them that if anybody is talking of Southwest minus Oyo State, that person is wasting his time. Because this is the hub, this is the nerve center of southwestern Nigeria. Leave it or take it. That's how we are. And let me also tell you that it is this kind of situation in which we are in Oyo State that has been engendering all kinds of interest to really show that, yes, we are part of Southwest in terms of culture, in terms of education. You have listened to all of that since yesterday. And those of us that have really been around for quite some time, we know that you cannot distract from all of these roles that we have been playing in Oyo State from ancient times. And so when we watch several clips showing Manor House, showing Palace of Ogbomoso, showing Idere Hill, showing Suspended Lake at Ado-Awaye, and things like that, that's exactly who we are in Oyo State. So we have the untapped resources, potentials, which are crying for development, and you prospective developers want to tap into all of these resources with a view to really improving on the standard of living of not only Oyo State indigenes, but also Nigerians. And because of the pivotal role that we are playing, it led some people into lunacy, hallucination, if you may call it, to really want to seize the seat of government just about a week ago by bashing into the Secretariat of Oyo State government and attempting to hoist Oodua, whatever they call it, Oodua flag. it's only telling us a story about Oyo State, about Ibadan. If these people are really Yoruba indigenes, they should know that what they were trying to do was not who we are as a tribe. And that's why we say, Ajisebi Oyo, Lari, Oyo Kishebi, Abeni Kokon. So on behalf of His Excellency, the Governor of Oyo State, let me thank all of you that have come to really participate in this two-day workshop or summit, Third International Tourism Summit. And as His Excellency said yesterday, that this summit is to signal to all of us in Oyo State that there are ways and means by which we can project the art of doing business. And the Honorable Commissioner for Works, Professor Ishangodoyin, really explained to a large extent that the infrastructure facilities that we have in Oyo State will enable you prospective developers, investors to tap into all of these potentials that we have in Oyo State. The interconnectivity of road network, not only zonal interconnections, but intra-city connections that we have, particularly in our cities like Ibadan, like Iseyin, like Ogbomoso, like Shaki, like Igbora, for instance, like Oyo. And these are where you would have all of these potentials. Debo Akande mentioned agric tourism potentials. Fashola, Erua is there, and a few others that are waiting for you investors, prospective investors, to really tap into and make a holistic achievement of agric potentials. So this summit has given our administration an opportunity to answer a question that has been frequently asked. And this question is, why is it that Oyo State government is just focusing on tourism now in the 5th year of its administration? So, well, to speak to that, one of the major things needed for a thriving tourism industry is infrastructural development, which our administration embarked upon under Omitutun 1.0. So all of this were already encapsulated in the submissions. Our lead speakers, and I do not want to repeat all of those submissions that have been made by these speakers, road network, educational heritage, cultural, and so on and so forth. So we have been enabled our prospective developers, investors, to really take advantage of the facilities that Oyo State government had laid down, so that if you want to build an industry, for instance, you do not need to really make your own roads. Oyo State government had done that for you, and it's coming at a huge cost to the state government purse. But since we are trying to open up the economy, we have no choice other than to really do what is needful to invite prospective investors. Yesterday, I'm glad, as His Excellency's deputy, to really observe that immediately after the summit, after the session, a good number of our prospective investors held a meeting with His Excellency, and the outcome of such meetings is trickling into my ears positively at that, because some have even taken up the challenges. They have got committed to some of the projects that we are calling for in Oyo State. So thank you very much for really taking advantage of what we are doing. The other thing is to really let you know that, as a couple Owoseni inform us, we know, as a matter of fact, that provision of security, even it's in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the primary duty of government is to provide security for lives and property. I think you have that, I think, under the provision of the Constitution. And that's why we are not leaving the issue of security lightly. Kwampo Owoseni had alluded to that. Today, unlike before, 24 hours, you can move around the city centers. Not only in Ibadan here, you go to Oyo, you go to Ogbomoso, you go to Iseyin, you go to Kishi, for instance, you can move 24 hours unmolested.